Hello guys, it's me, Greed here. Today I want to talk about the law of large numbers and how it proves Overwatch is a bad video game. So first of all, the law of large numbers states that the average of the results obtained from a large number of independent random samples converges to the true value if it exists. Essentially meaning that if you were to look at enough random scenarios, let's say flipping a coin, that over enough period of time, the true value of a coin flip is 50-50. After a large enough period of time, it will be shown in the stats that it is in fact 50-50 by just running enough tests. The reason this is important to Season 9 specifically is because of the way damage has shifted from prior seasons to the, seasons after Season 9. So my first point is skill expression, generally speaking. Simply more so mechanical skill expression. So let's say you've got a certain level of aim, it's irrelevant whatever value you want to attach to that, and you are expressing a level of skill that is above someone else's, right? After the Season 9 changes, the gap between your mechanical skill and their mechanical skill is diminished because of the fact that hitting the shots mechanically is easier, right? Now, that isn't necessarily a massive deal. I personally don't agree with it. I like when mechanical skill is rewarded, massively. But the difference is that because that player that was worse mechanically is now given the ability to hit more shots purely because they are, it means that the player that's better at the game is less rewarded for hitting more shots than that person because of the fact that the health pools have become bigger to compensate for the fact that the worst player can now hit more shots. Meaning that the change to Season 9 actually hurt players more than it helped them. And the reason for that is because sustained individual pressure on a single target from a single target became less valuable in comparison to general spam and poke. And the reason for that is, again, the law of large numbers. Over a long enough period of time, spam is naturally going to be the superior option when it comes to general Overwatch gameplay, due to the fact that it is now easier to land spam, and mechanical skill expression in the duel or the 1v1 or so on is less rewarded due to the fact that health pools are bigger and the hitboxes are bigger as well. So obviously that's going to make sustained pressure more valuable and more reliable, and consistent damage is good damage in Overwatch, and it makes mechanical duels, 1v1s and so on, obviously less impactful because the fact that people are more likely to be able to run away, they're more likely to get a heal, they're more likely to do a health pack, they're more likely to have time to wait for their cooldowns to tick down that might give them some kind of advantage in the 1v1. You are making it so that the duels are less about actually dueling and more about avoidance. The game has become more about deniability in the sense that you don't want to engage in those duels as a lot of characters. Therefore, Season 9 gives a lot of those heroes the options to get away from duels that the enemy team or anyone has fought for to try and earn through pathing, rotations, positioning, good mechanical skill in general, good pressure, whatever it may be, good ult or cooldown usage, good zoning, anything. All of that is less valuable than simply spamming down main because chip damage in general is more useful. Now, the reason for chip damage being more valuable as time has gone on, especially after Season 9, and why mechanical dueling is less valuable over time, is simply due to the higher health pools. 250 HP massively changes how the flow of the game actually works. When you are spamming out chip damage into people that are generally 250 HP, it's more reliable because you have things like the DPS passive, which lowers the amount of healing they receive, and their health pools are bigger, so they obviously need more healing to fill it up. Therefore, it takes a longer period of time. So if all of your teammates, 6 of them, 5 of them, whatever it may be, are spamming down main or poking, when people receive damage, they are not able to go off, make a play, do their individual pressure cycles or whatever it may be, because the fact that they need a higher amount of healing, they need to wait to get a heal. And the longer they wait to get a heal, the more their teammates are going to have to wait to get a heal, because they're also going to be getting spammed and chipped down. This wasn't as big a deal before Season 9, because obviously the hitboxes were a lot smaller, so chip damage was less reliable. It wasn't happening as often. The DPS passive didn't exist to compensate for the super tank existence being too overpowered when the health pools got too big, because the supports were healing them too effectively. And prior to Season 9, your own individual mechanical ability to actually accurately shoot people was just simply more valuable because it was harder to do, therefore it was an increased amount of pressure, which meant that it was simply more valuable. You had a greater chance of killing someone, you had a greater chance of dueling someone, you had a greater chance of applying deliberate pressure. That's the important word. Deliberate pressure. If you think to your games currently, you'll realize a lot of them are Ramatra spamming down main, Hog spamming down main, Hanzo spamming down main, Sojourn spamming down main, Freya spamming down main. It's the same thing every time, especially the higher and higher in rank you go, you'll find more spam. And that's obviously because the better players have realized there is an increased amount of reliability and pressure when it comes to just generally shooting your gun down main, because it's easier to hit shots after Season 9. Therefore, individual mechanical dueling ability is diminished. You are not as valuable as you were before because you are less likely to win in the duel in the first place, and general spam damage is just higher to hit. That's why I brought up the law of large numbers, because after enough period of time, your spam will simply be more valuable. However, and that's a provable fact by the fact that obviously the health bars are bigger, so the healing is slower. Therefore, individual chip damage makes people AFK for longer to receive a healing, and the hitboxes on the projectiles are bigger, therefore they're more likely to hit, right? You see what I'm saying? Though, at the same time, your own mechanical ability to duel is diminished, which is a provable fact as well, because it takes a longer period of time to kill someone, and people that are in duels are better at receiving healing now than they were before, because it takes a longer amount of time to kill them. Therefore, burst healing becomes more effective on them, because there are more opportunities to apply that burst healing, there are more opportunities to apply immortalities, there are more opportunities to apply damage resistance abilities, and so on. So then it becomes a provable, undeniable fact that individual solo player agency, solo carry potential, everything that your individual impact over the game is diminished after Season 9, and individual mechanical dueling ability or positional dueling ability, whatever kind of dueling ability you want to do to potentially give your team an advantage through solo play, is less valuable over time after Season 9 than general spam damage. That's why in the higher ranks you're seeing more people picking spam, sitting down main, and just shooting their guns down main all day as you did before, where there was a lot of flanking, there was a lot of off-angling, there was a lot of interesting interactions, there was a tank trade and so on, and that was all allowed to exist because of the fact that you were actually rewarded for deliberate pressure into certain areas where you could decide where the pressure was going, and you were rewarded based on your ability to apply that pressure. Now the pressure is easier to apply, but the pressure is diminished. Therefore, general spam becomes more valuable because it is safer, and it makes the enemy team stay AFK for longer because they take a longer period of time to receive a healing, but you're still not able to duel as well as you could before. Therefore, mathematically proving Season 9 is objectively bad for the competitive integrity of the game. Mwah. I love you. Have a good day. Good day. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. Goodbye, goodbye. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. Goodbye, goodbye.